Hey, you guys. Hi. It's been a while. It is Monday and it's a holiday, and so I'm wondering if anyone is around at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which hopefully means that my Pacific Coast time people are around. It's not as late for you guys. Um, the title of this video has to do with self doubt, and I want to talk about self doubt today. I posted a post on my Facebook wall today about the plane crash that happened in San Diego. I don't know if you saw it. I actually probably wouldn't have seen it because I haven't had news on in I don't know how long. But I have a friend who lives in San Diego who some of you may know, and she texted us, and it's like this small plane. It wasn't a huge plane. A small plane just basically fell out of the sky and crashed onto the streets in an area near San Diego and must have crashed on top of a UPS truck and killed the driver inside. And so, like, we don't see these things happening, right? We don't know they're going to happen. We can't tell. We have no idea what's going to happen in the next hour. Anything can happen, but for some reason we think that we are invincible when it comes to catastrophes like this. But what today's incident made me realize was, number one, I have people who are really close to that area, and it could have been a mile different. It could have been a mile left or right or north or south, and it could have been a completely different situation. And also that we don't know how much time we have left on this earth. And what if tomorrow was the end? And it got me thinking about why we don't do things that we say we've always wanted to do. Like, tell me if you've ever said something like, I've always wanted to do blah, 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 right? Climb the highest mountain in Massachusetts, hike the highest mountain, go for a different job. It could be anything. What is one thing that you've said to yourself where you have literally said the words, I've always wanted to blank? We all have something. For me, for a while, it was, I've always wanted to write a book. And I wasn't sure that I had the capability to do it. I told myself that I didn't, actually, for years and years and years. I told myself I didn't have enough content until I started to do some mindset work around it. And I got to a place where I realized that, you know what? Literally an outline for a book fell out of my brain. And I think that was because I had worked so hard at doing some mindset work around it. So we tell ourselves these things that we can't do. Right? We have this self-doubt. We have this uncertainty about ourselves. Where does that come from? It can come from a million places. It can come from our childhood and what people tell us, and what our parents tell us, and what teachers tell us. Say you have poor academic performance. I don't know if you've ever not done well in school. I was not great at school up until now. I had not been great at school, and I had poor academic performance, right? Like, I embodied a lot of the things that were told to me about my academic performance, which then made me doubt, number one, that I could write a book. Number two, that I could do well in school, that I could get a good job. Like, all of these things and piled on top of each other to make us doubt, or make me doubt, my capabilities and my smartness, I guess. It can come from you trying something. Say you went out on a limb one time and you tried something and you quote unquote failed. You can have and harbor self-doubt because you failed. To your brain, that is, I wasn't smart enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not whatever enough to cause you to fail. I can't see comments because my phone is in a cup, but I can see Danielle. She says, yes, blockers stop us from living our purpose. Yes, I want to talk about blockers. Thank you, Danielle, for bringing that up. So, where else can self-doubt come from? Self-doubt can come from social media and the comparison game, right? Like, we're literally fed, we are marketed to every single day to keep up with other people. And it is intentional or unintentional, whichever way you want to look at it. But if you're on your phone and you're scrolling social media, tell me that you don't have a doubt in your mind when you come across a profile that you wish you could be like. And you tell yourself whatever it is that you're going to tell yourself, the reason why you're not as good as this person in this profile. Tell me you don't compare yourself to somebody throughout the day at some point, right? So it comes from social media, it comes from marketing, it comes from advertising all around us. And it can come from emotional trauma. You can be emotionally traumatized in your childhood. Even as an adult, you can be emotionally traumatized, and that can change the way that you think about yourself and the way that you go forward. When it comes to maybe you want to go for a new job, you don't go for it because you don't believe that you can get it. Even though you have the skills and you have the knowledge, you stop yourself from going for it. Or you don't go for a new relationship, you don't ask somebody out, you don't speak up for yourself in meetings or up for yourself in any kind of social situation, right? Because there's something that you block yourself from believing in your capabilities. So you doubt the things that you can do. One way to look at that and to start turning that around and how to change it, how to get out of this self-doubt path, which is really like a self-esteem thing, right? And confidence, is looking at what you love. How easy is it for you to sit down and think about something that you love? You can think about what you love to do, what you love to read, what you love to eat, what you love to talk about, what you love to teach others about. What things can you bring forward into your realm that you love? And when you recognize those things, think about what if you could never do them again? What if your life never involved teaching others about health and wellness, which is something that I love to do? What if your life didn't have those things? What would life look like without the things that you love to do? And maybe you've already figured that out because you're living a life that doesn't involve the things that you love because you're not confident enough in yourself and your capabilities and what you have to go forward in including them in your life. That can be pretty heavy. Let me see if I can see comments. I think we all have doubts. I think we all have doubts from here. Like, we get into lows and we get into highs, and we have good days and we have bad days. And all that it depends on is how we know how to manage them. Because the important part is it's okay to feel, right? We all have feelings. It's okay to have emotions and to have feelings and to feel that feeling of doubt. But what's more important is to know what to do with it when you get it. Because if you know what to do with it, you know how to get out of it, you know how to pivot and change it because you recognize it. But the common pitfall for many of us is that we don't know how to recognize that this is self-doubt and that we can turn it around for ourselves. We don't have to win the lottery. We don't have to have some magic Willy Wonka golden ticket that we get, right? We have the power to get out of that ourselves. So, what would life look like if you led with the things that you love? How would the next 365 days look for you if you led with those things? The next 5 years, the next 10 years, the next 15 years, how could life be different if you stepped out of self-doubt? If you stepped into fully confident in what you love to do because you love it, in what you're good at, and you could recognize those emotions and those feelings and use them to catapult you, what would life look like? So how do we do that, right? How do we get out of self-doubt? Yeah, it's so easy for us to say like, okay, I recognize self-doubt. Now what? How do we get out? You get mad. You recognize things like I recognize today, that we don't have control over a lot of the things in our lives. And the things that we can control, we need to take control of because they can bring us joy. We can allow them to bring us joy, or we can focus on the things that don't bring us joy and wish that we had more joy. Now, which one seems more good? Is that a word? Which one seems better, right? You want to focus on the things that bring us joy. So we get mad about it because when we get mad about it, that means you're fired up about it and you want to make a change. If you do not hate where you are, if you do not dislike that you are doubting your capabilities, if you're not mad enough about it, you won't make that change. So you have to recognize that you have the power to change And then when you recognize that, you have the choice to pivot and start taking action. So you're fired up that you haven't done the things that you want. You're fired up that you're not living the life that you want to live. What if life ended tomorrow? Would you be happy knowing what you've done so far? Or would you have regrets? Would you have things that you would say, I wish I did this, I wish I did that, I wish I spent time with, I wish I worked this job, I wish. Would you have I wish moments? We have to start breaking through the blockers that Danielle talked about, like our fear, laziness, guilt, self-sabotage, which is huge, our focus, and our anger. We have to break through them so that we can show up 100% as our true, authentic self. And we have to practice, right? It's not going to happen tomorrow. Like, for example, I have this affirmation that's on my on a note card, on a 3x5 note card. It's on my mirror. I've been saying it every single morning and night for 10 months now. I started in January. And when I get tripped up on myself, when I start to fall into the comparison game or a doubt game, or I start getting down that rabbit hole, that card actually helps pull me out, because it reminds me of what I'm doing. It reminds me of my goals and my purpose, and it reminds me what I love and why I am here. So if you need a reminder, you first have to go inward and figure out what you love and what you want to do and what your purpose is. And that right here in this group, that is what this group is for. It's to help you break those barriers. It's to help you uncover the things that are pulling you down and keeping you smaller than I know you can rise out of, right? You got to practice every day. You can use affirmations. You can journal. You can just simply open a page of paper and write. You don't have to keep it nice and neat in a notebook. I have 60,000 notebooks everywhere all over my house. I've written random pages in there. It's not something I ever need to even go back to if I don't want to, but it's just the practice of getting out your feelings and your emotions on paper. And it's that connection with the pen to the paper that creates these new neural pathways in your brain. And I promise you, practicing doing that over and over and over again is going to help you. So you've got your journaling, you've got your writing. You can recognize your hopes and your dreams, and you can put them down in front of you and have them in front of you every single day so that you see them. You need to remind your brain what you're trying to do. And pretty soon it becomes automation, right? But if you don't practice and you don't show up for yourself every single day, it's never going to happen. So, with that being said, yes, it was kind of a grave realization today when I saw that news article or that video about the plane that crashed. And I was just thinking about that poor UPS truck guy who was just sitting in his truck doing his job, going to deliver his next package, and he didn't even know what was coming. And then I thought about that's how we are every single day. Like, yes, he had a very unlucky moment in that time. But that's literally where we are in every single moment of every single day, not knowing what the next minute and the next hour is going to look like. And so if you want to be happy, and if you want to find joy, and if you want to love every single part of your life, that's why you're here in this group. You need to take action and start figuring out what you do love. You can hire a coach if you want to. I am happy to work with you. I love doing that with people. We break down all these things and we work through the blockers to help you get on a path of loving life and designing a life that is yours and not living by the default of others. I hope that is helpful. Self-doubt is a killer, but you have the power to work through it. You do. And you're in control of every second and minute and hour and 365 days and 10 years and 15 years from now. You're in the power of all of that. And I love you so much, and I want you to be fully embodied in all that you're capable of and constantly growing in your mind and your body so that you surprise yourself every time you wake up in the morning. I love you guys. I hope that's helpful for you. Let me know if you have any questions or need any help working through self-doubt. We're in this together, okay? I hope you guys have an amazing evening, and I will catch you later.